We didn't get a fourth down conversion there on that first drive. That would have been big. So there was just some things early on that we could have controlled better that we didn't. And they capitalized on it, and we didn't. And then we had the turnover late in the game for the touchdown that really put it away for them. But just overall, they played better than we did.
Carl Lawson's having the best season of his career. Can you describe how he's disrupted so many offensive lines this season?
Yeah, pass rush is critical in this league, and Carl's done a nice job of that, pressuring the quarterbacks, getting hits on them. Affecting the games, and so it's good to have somebody like that affects the quarterback.
Zach, what have you learned about how to build a team and play and win in this division over the last couple of years? I mean, you weren't really in it before, and there's a perception you got to have big physical guys in here. Is that as true as you thought it would, and what have you sort of learned about that during the last couple of years?
Yeah, it is. It's a big physical division. There's a lot of depth up front, certainly. A lot of good pass rushers in this league. And you hate to say you got to play a certain style, but certainly you got to be on top of every detail when you walk into one of these divisional games. And you oftentimes see some of the crossover divisional matchups, what happens to some of those divisions as they come over here and they play this division. But again, I like it. I think it's the best division in football. If you come out of this division, in good shape and head of the playoffs, then you're usually ready to make every kind of run that you'd ever want to make. And so I don't think you'd want it any other way. Our guys love playing the Browns and the Steelers and the Ravens. They get up for it. They know it's always going to be a great opportunity. It's going to be a physical game. And so our guys are excited. We love playing in this division.
Zach, I've gathered just from listening to you that you're pretty confident you're going to be back for a third year. But how much do you want to come back and not just come back and do well, but prove that you can win games and have some success as a head coach here?
Well, we are just focused on this year. Obviously you also have this long-term vision as you go through it. You have to, as you're building a team. But I love coming to work with this group of people. And that's what motivates me is winning and celebrating and doing all those great things. But just going through the grind of it with the group that we have here is fun. It's special. And so when we do get to those better days that are ahead, to be able to share them with this group, because the work that we've put in together is going to be really fun.
Coach, didn't go the way you wanted the first games against Pittsburgh and Baltimore there on the road. But you get Pittsburgh at home, you beat them. If you beat Baltimore at home on Sunday, what would that mean to get 2 division wins and your 3 wins to finish the season at home?
Well, I think that's always where it starts, is in the division. And wherever you play the game, doesn't matter. First game, last game of the season, does not matter. But it is important to set the tone in your division. And so obviously this game is very meaningful in that way for us.
Coach, what does your quarterback have to do against them, against Baltimore? What are 1 or 2 of the things that he definitely has to get done?
Well, I just keep it simple. You got to protect the football. They're very aggressive with their mindset defensively. They do a great job attacking the ball, not only in the backfield, but on the perimeter with their defensive backs as well. 44 is as good as anybody in the league and punching the ball out. I think a lot of the guys try to emulate his play style, and they do a good job of it. And so again, you got to be physical, not only in the box, but on the perimeter as well. And, that's up to the quarterback as well to protect the ball in the pocket.
It would seem like his accuracy does lend to that. I mean, he what makes him so accurate, and will that help you against a defense like Baltimore's?
Accuracy, yeah, absolutely. That's a great quality for Brandon, and certainly we're playing on him playing a great game and having a great feel for the plan and knowing how to attack these guys, and absolutely plan on Brandon having a great game.
Zach, has Brandon done enough to potentially, be the number 2 guy next year? Do you think he can play his way into potentially being the backup for y'all next season when Joe comes back?
I'm glad we got Brandon. He's done a great job for us, particularly these last 2 games he's played. But those decisions are decisions we'll make in the offseason.
Is there anything that he can do to kind of bolster his case to maybe solidify that? I mean, do you need to see what he did on Sunday to maybe make you think that?
That's not – we don't operate with that in mind. We just operate on – he needs to do the things he can to help us win the game against Baltimore, and then we worry about everything afterwards. But right now we got 4 or 5 days to get ready for this game, and that's our whole focus.
Coach, Coach, do you wait to have those conversations with the front office about, staff and players, stuff like that fans and we speculate about. Do you wait until after the season completely, or is that something dialogue-wise that you have throughout the year about the long-term vision?
Yeah, I think the meat of it is after the season. But when you talk to people every day, there's got to be constant, ongoing communication amongst the personnel staff and the coaches every day of the year. And it touches on a variety of topics. But the meat of everything is always done after the season.
Obviously, last week, Brandon had as good of a game as it gets at quarterback. But this time last week, he was coming off the injury. Finley had just gotten the win. What went into the decision to start Brandon over Finley coming off the win?
I felt Brandon had made good progress. I know the Dallas game is what it was, but I thought that he had done some things to execute the plan the way that we wanted it done. We expected him to do the same thing once he got healthy against Houston, and he did that for us. And so those are just things we expected, and we're glad that he had a great game last week.
Any more questions for Coach?
Yeah, when you play these teams for a second time, these division teams, how much time do you spend anticipating or guessing what new they might throw at you versus just studying what they did in the first game or what they've done in the most recent games? There's always a blend of that, and this is a team that we played, I don't know what it was, 10, 11 games ago. So that's almost a lifetime ago in some worlds, but you got to go through the whole season's tape and see how they've evolved as a defense. What do they do to attack you the first time? So again, there's just a blend of that. They give you a lot of things that you got to be prepared for. This is a really good defense. They've played at a very high level. They seem to be very healthy right now, and they got all their weapons over there. And so, again, it's a great challenge for us.
Like along those lines, does Joe miss out on not facing them a second time just to see how he handles it second time around, or is it going to be completely new again next year when he faces them twice?
I don't think anything will be completely new to Joe next year. I think that he learned a lot in the time he got. Obviously, yes, we would have loved for him to play in every game and get a chance to really feel out this division. But Joe is a very quick learner, and I think that the games that he got to play against the divisional opponents will help shape him for next season. He'll have a whole offseason to know where he's going to be, what the offense is like, what the NFL is like. There's a lot that he's going to be able to continue to grow with. And so when we get him back in the fold, we expect him to hit the ground running.
When it doesn't look like Jonah Williams is going to play this week. When he got hurt, you said you avoided disaster there. It was less severe than it looked at first. Is that still the case? And just how's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing great. And again, if this season was longer, then maybe there's an opportunity there. But it's not. So he's not going to be able to play this week. But again, it wasn't a major long-term injury.
Zach, how do you think Lou has done in year two, especially I guess the way that he's looked the last couple of weeks? I mean, what's your overall take on how Lou's performed as a defensive coordinator in his second year?
I think Lou's done a good job. I think that as our personnel has settled down in terms of the injuries on defense, these guys have really developed chemistry and a good understanding of the scheme and are playing really fast at a high level and giving us opportunities to win games. Hasn't always happened, but I think that they've done a good job, particularly this last stretch of the season.
2 more minutes.
Zach, the other day I asked you about the confidence you had in yourself. Where's your confidence level in your assistants as a whole in this coaching staff?
Extremely high. Extremely high. They were hired for a reason. I think there's great communication on the staff and really, really pleased with the job that they're doing.
Zach, if someone will look at these last couple of games and think, man, how did the Bengals, how do they find a way to win these games when they're so banged up and so depleted in some ways? But is there something that you saw kind of big picture in these last 2 games or something that clicked or changed that can be carried over, that can be something that can click to more wins in the future that worked these last 2 games?
Yeah, I do think Sam's play at the end of the game to close that game out is meaningful for us because we've been in that situation so many times this year. I would say 6 times this year to be exact. And that play just hasn't been made, and it could have been made by 22, 25 guys. And so for that moment, because we've been in that situation many times and it hasn't worked out for us, for someone to make the play and us to feel, okay, this is what it feels like to take control of the game and go win it. I think that's significant. I do.
One last question.
How much of those plays are about that time of game where you need that play? Can coaches and scheme dial things up, and how much is that just strictly player time? Those big moments.
Absolutely both. Absolutely both. And everybody plays a role in that, good and bad. And so again, it's I think that's all I can really say to that. But there's certainly elements of both there.
Try and squeeze one more in. Jay, it looked like you had a question there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, at the end of the season like this, when playoffs are out, you guys have been clear that the desire to win is unchanged. It's the same as week 2, week 5, whatever. But is there any difference at all? I mean, do you see is there more of a looser? Does the team seem looser in practice, pregame, during the game? Is there any change from that standpoint?
I can't say that there has been. I think this team has been consistent all year. And that's they come in, they get their work, they're focused. There's that right balance of looseness and, okay, we got to buckle down and get this work done and everyone be focused and dialed in here. So I've been pleased with that. I think that it's been consistent throughout. And that has paid off for us these last couple of weeks.
Coach, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.